Hey guys, welcome to the Wedding Vendors Happy Hour with your hosts, Derek and Jade.
What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in and welcome to episode 30 of the Wedding Vendors Happy Hour. As always, my name is Derek with DP Films Productions.
My name is Jade with Justice Promised Events. Today we chat with Kate and Nick, co-owners of Book More Brides. Together, they help wedding business owners around the world better understand how to identify their perfect clients, what to say to get them booked, and how to create strategic online content that builds relations in sales.
That's right. I hope you guys are ready for your ears to be blown and your brain to be filled with knowledge because this episode is jam-packed with it. So grab a drink, take a seat, and let's get to it. What's up, Nick and Kate? Thanks so much for taking the time to be a part of our show. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going great. So happy to be here.
Yeah, we're so excited. I know.
To have you.
Yeah, we're so happy. And we know that you guys are just going to overwhelm us with like a bunch of golden information.
That's the goal, right?
That's right. That's right. Get ready. Get ready.
It's hard to put it all at one time.
Yeah, I know my listeners are going to be pumped for this episode. I know I am. I know we are.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but before we jump into the hard-hitting questions, let's just go a little bit about like who you guys are, what you do, what you specialize in, and how long you've been doing it.
Yeah, no problem. Well, if it's okay, I'll start us off. So yeah, we're Nick and Kate Story, and we're married, and we are the owners of Book More Brides. And basically, what we do is we help wedding business owners who are great at what they do, but might have a little trouble in marketing and sales, especially online. So what we're kind of the way that you guys are a power duo, and the way that you are able to help your couples. We do that for our clients as well, in that my background and kind of my superpower, I guess you could say, is in marketing and writing. And with Nick, he is really strong in business systems, strategies, and really helping businesses to kind of see the big picture. So if they're here, where do they want to go and how do they get there? So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Jeez, that is a powerhouse couple.
Yeah, that's cool. That's so awesome. Yeah, we love interviewing like married couples that are like powerhouses together. That's so cool. Congrats on that with you guys too.
Thank you. Yeah, we love being able to work together.
We're very hard to be able to work together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, that's actually a good topic. I want to go into married couples working together and how do they balance that out. That's really cool too. But before that, let's see. How'd you guys get into marketing and like being a specialist in that field?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
Let's start with your background.
Yeah. So just like many people in the wedding industry, we didn't start here. We didn't start in the wedding industry, right? Yeah. So my background is actually in public relations, digital marketing, communications. Mm-hmm. So I've worked with everything from, very small one person, businesses that are just trying to get off the ground, all the way up to multi-million-dollar companies and nonprofits and things like that. So I've had kind of a wide range, but what I have kind of found and has become kind of what I have been known for, especially with our wedding clients, is to be able to take a story. I married into the right family, and to really help each business, whether they're super tiny or super big, to be able to find their story and to tell it in the right way so that it connects with their customers. So, And then you want to talk about yours?
And I come from a family of serial entrepreneurs. So we actually loved real estate. We used to do digital marketing when internet was brand new. It was a lot of fun. But I went to school to actually be a special ed teacher for many years. I taught people with learning disabilities. So one of my own superpowers are basically taking a really complex topic, which is business, and breaking it down into really simple steps to get you from here to there. So, and then administration and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of like how we work up. I help get it and she helps write it, and in between it kind of works well. So.
Goodness.
Yeah, that's so cool. You guys are definitely the powerhouse. I like how you guys just like really balance each other out and also be like that power force together. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's nice. Like you said, it's been a while, a road to get here, right? Your businesses are always like that, but yeah, to be able to work together and kind of support each other, especially when we're big time. What's the word I'm thinking of? We're visionaries, and like just thinking, we do a lot of what if thinking, like, oh, what if we did this? What if this was, we did it this way? So we work well together in that way.
That's so cool. Yeah, I like that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the insight on like how you got started and all of that. And I'm curious, how did you transition into like specializing in weddings and helping the wedding industry when it comes to booking more brides?
Do you want to say that or?
Go for it.
Yeah.
I'll jump in.
So we, before we owned Book More Brides, we had, and we still do have a wedding video alternative that we offer. We started together, built off of kind of our own story. When we got married, we were very young, and budgets are tight when you're first starting out and everything. So we weren't able to get a videographer, and let alone a really, really good one like you, Derek, but trying to get any sort of a videographer. And we've regretted it ever since. We're actually coming up on 17 years of marriage.
Oh, congrats.
And every single year we're like, I wish we had our wedding video, because we have, family that has passed.
We got like my sister's passed, our family members gone.
Yeah.
We really regret that. We want people to have that, because our kids now, I mean, we met early on, so it's really cool, but now they're getting big. They would love to see that living video rather than just images. So
exactly.
we have a heart for making those days special for people.
Yeah.
And that transitioned into basically, we kept building it over the years, and it was successful. And then we started working with go through the whole thing, or I don't want to bore everybody. Started working with our mentors. We had joined Book More Brides as a customer, and they knew of our marketing skills. So we started working with them, and one day they asked us if we would consider purchasing and taking it over. So we're like, yeah, let's just do 5 businesses, and why not? But because marketing is marketing, and it works whether it's in here or not, but especially with her gifts, because of the emotional nature of this industry. And because we have such good artists who are great at what they do, but they aren't getting in front of people. And it's a shame, because they could have so much more success if people simply knew about it. They just don't know about it. So that's our passion, is helping people. And I don't get to do special anymore, but I get to help people transform their businesses. And I really like that part of it for me. I know you like all the creative stuff, but I like the people side of it. So
that is so cool. Yeah. I like you guys just spill out all the information to us. Like big answers, let it go. We love it.
Okay, good.
Okay, we'll ramble.
Just ramble. I love it.
Just cut us like
conversation. Yeah. Like that's good. That's all we need.
It's like perfect. But I like how you guys were talking about videography and like how you wish you guys had it. Like, I don't even want to get started into how I wish video should be like really priority too, because it's huge.
Totally agree.
It's huge. But so, I wanted to go to, so you're more about your business too. Are you guys just a 2 powerhouse couple, or do you guys have like a team that works with you guys with your business?
So we've been blessed to develop a full team, from people. We've brought in other great minds, because there's people who are great at what they do. And we don't just service one industry. We service venues, DJs, videographers. So we have a venue specialist who in there helps our group coaching programs. People get them sit down and meet with our SEO people. And we know quite a lot ourselves too, but like there's power in all the numbers there. Yeah. Plus all the behind the scene, project managers to make sure that everything gets done the way it's supposed to do. Yeah. And that's my jam. That's what I love. I love business building. I love helping people like build their business up, because it's hard to go from 2 people, which is a self-employed business, to actually being a business owner. And that's where a lot of our customers get stuck at, is they're becoming a really successful DJ, right? But now they've got like a lot of weddings, and they're bringing on another person, and but like
there's only so many hours in a day that they themselves can do it, right?
Instagram management and all that stuff, but so they stay small instead of growing.
That is, there's so many questions I want to ask, and just that.
I know. I'm sure so many listeners can relate as you're talking about that.
Yeah, for sure. Like you mentioned, like being just a creative, my mind's always on the creative aspect. And then like looking at my website, I'm like, I don't have time to like do the SEOs, to do a Pinterest board, to go into like social media. That's the job itself. And we're definitely going to hit all those things. So we'll get into that.
Awesome. We're ready for it.
Yeah, we're super excited. So can you actually show us like your site and like what you guys do on More Brides?
Yeah.
Let's check it out.
Pull this up here so we can take a quick little look here.
Yeah, for sure.
So we, and we'll talk a little bit about, website specifics and everything. And, I hope it's not too much of a spoiler alert, but take a look at your site as well, Derek, a little bit later.
Yeah, for sure.
But I I think I need the permission.
So at Book More Brides, that's one of the things we want to clarify for everybody is what we do, because we started off just helping people and having our acceleration membership, right? We have a really affordable membership that people kind of came in and got all this like done for you. And then people kind of said like, you know what? There's a lot of should I keep going?
Yeah, you're doing
a lot of courses out there and stuff, and there, videos. But what I really need is feedback. And just like you want us to look at your website, they said, just look at my website. I want someone to do it. Yeah. So we built a group coaching program for that very reason. If you wanted SEO, you come to SEO call, and our team will just look at it with you. So it's like they said they basically want access to our marketing team.
Yeah.
And then out of that came our like Book More Brides CRM, where we help people not just set it up, but make all those creative things and all those processes go together with our emails. So you just follow up the way you're supposed to and all the done for you stuff. So we kind of do a lot, but we're happy to talk about whatever makes there. It's just we want to help people in different ways because everybody needs something different.
Yeah, not every business is the same. You know what I mean? So to have like a one size fits all solution, usually doesn't work, especially in our industry. I mean, if you're working in a big metro area, your needs are going to be very different than someone who's working in a rural area, and
Book More Brides has been established since 2013. So we have such a history of like helping people from our mentors to us and so on. So. So do you want me to just kind of go through a little bit and kind of show you, and then I'll
a brief little thing.
What's that?
Just like a brief rundown of the
basically. So this is what it looks like. We're actually getting ready to launch a new site. So that's going to be exciting when that's available. We're going to make it a little easier for, like Nick was describing, depending on where you need to go.
Website SEO number one. You got to update your websites every few years.
Yes.
Otherwise, the technology is moving so quick.
Exactly. So, we have everything you can learn about here. Our blog, actually. So we very much like with Nick being a teacher and with me enjoying writing, we really have a heart for helping people to learn. So our blog is actually very built out. You can find pretty much anything you would want to start learning about for your wedding business. In terms of marketing and sales, that's in our blog. So definitely there. And, we have some of the other things, some feedback, things like that, a little bit about us, and just different ways to be able to, that's what we're looking to help people understand. There's different ways to be able to get into what you need to learn for your wedding business based on where you're at right now, and also where you want to go, because where you're at is not always where you want to stay. Right. So How do you get there?
Everybody loves our price shopper. It's like over like 8 pages long, really well with a good, concise email. So we'll leave with that.
Oh yeah. We definitely want to get into, those price brides pricing.
Oh, for sure. We could, that could be a whole other episode. Honestly, we love talking about the price shopper thing.
Yeah. Everyone wants to know the state of mind for that one.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. So thank you for going over that. Let's get some more questions here. So let's see here. So let's go into some business things now. Let's see.
Yes, here we go. I think I got it for you.
You got it, man. Looks good.
There we go.
Okay, so say that the vendors, we all have a nice website up, so we think, we're ready for business. We're ready. We're like, all right, cool. Let's get those inquiries in. What kind of contacts, like what should we have on our website that should be attracting the brides that we want? Like what should we have on there?
Should we start with the whole journey from like that beginning person? Because you kind of led with like the beginning person all the way through, or
go for it. Go ahead. Go start with.
How about we show you our Book More Brides roadmap? Okay, will you share your screen?
Yeah,
and then let's go a little more granular. So
that actually might make it easier to answer that exact question.
Because you're not the first person to ask this.
No.
So we help people from direct beginners. We're like, how do I open a venue? How do I start my photography business? All the way to people who are 6 figures plus, and they've got a multi-op, they got teams, and they're looking for like that next level stuff. So we try to teach everybody, and we try to figure out really quickly when we're talking with you where you're kind of at on the phases. And we have 3 phases in our roadmap. Phase 1 is our like business doer, kind of solopreneur, wedding pros trying to do it all themselves because you're just starting out, right?
Mm-hmm. Can't really afford to hire a team yet, kind of still figuring a lot of stuff out, right?
And even though you can go through the different phases, you might be in phase 2, but still need to work on phase 1. This is lets us kind of help people know, what do I do next? Because that's the biggest question everybody wants to know. What do I do next, right? So foundational marketing and business systems is first. You kind of have to get that down. You have to be able to communicate with your customers through that website and everything else, right? The other person, how to establish and grow your presence in the market. I mean,
how do people find you online? How do they find you? Because we, and actually, if I can jump in here. So what we have found, has been interesting. And I'm sure that in the coming years, this is going to shift again quite dramatically. But we actually still have a lot of people that come to us, especially at the beginning of like the pandemic and everything, that their entire marketing strategy was built off of wedding shows and word of mouth. Like, they were doing zero SEO, zero social media, zero online ad spend, nothing. It was and they had a great thriving business. But the problem is that as these couples that are coming up now, and they are digital natives, right? They are used to finding information online. They need to find information online. Plus, with the pandemic and everybody being online just in general more, and feeling more comfortable with, Zoom meetings and, Zoom consultations and all those sorts of things, is that basically these businesses, these wedding businesses, were finding that if they didn't have an online presence, their business was dying. So it's so important to have these foundational things set and to know how to be found online. And social media alone isn't going to cut it, right? It's part of the strategy, but just having an Instagram account, that you sometimes update isn't going to be enough.
And I guess that's a gap that we do fill pretty well.
Yeah.
Like on here, we do talk about preparing your business go to full time, but a lot of people don't want full time. They're side hustles. A lot of people would love to be able to go from one place to do it full time in their business, and it's exciting. So, but after you get, and we're going to go back to the website thing, but even people in phase 2 who we know some DJs in Ontario who are killing it, right? Just on Facebook groups, which people love or hate them, but constantly being there, messaging, doing it. He's had one of the best months until Canada's been putting some stuff in, but basically they still need to go back to phase 1 and work on their marketing systems, because you can't have a one-trick pony. You got to have multiple things. And this is where we help people transition from solopreneur to more of a business owner, where you're getting that team together so that you can be the creative you, but not have to do all the stuff that you don't need to do. And then phase 3 is more business leader, having more multi-ops, kind of like building that thing, because you don't know how big you can grow until you start going down that journey. And that's if that fits with your life plan. Exactly. Some people just want family time. Some people want to grow. So, all right. Website SEO. Website questions, usually phase 1.
Yes. Yeah. So I know we kind of threw a lot at you. So what did you want to ask? I just wanted to show that.
Woo. Yeah, that was hard hitting already.
That's right. That's right.
No, that's so true. There's so many different stages of where people want to be. Like you said, some people start a business and don't know if they want to go straight in full time, want to do it part time. We do this full time. So, and then just always being in our offices all the time, we don't really, it's hard for us to just get to our own family time, So that's really cool. Yeah. It's just finding that balance and everything. And this whole, I'm going to hire you guys. You guys are hardcore over here.
That's right. Lord. We know what to do here.
Yeah, this is so good. I want to get to another question too. I've heard that a lot of people say that, you need your contact page, like a contact form on every on all your pages in your website. Do you feel that that's a good strategy, or does that just kind of forcible?
He's got thoughts on this.
No, we teach you need to not make it difficult for people to connect with you. Yeah. That can be a contact form. That's one way. Usually there's caveats to it, but the contact page is where everybody in the world knows to get there. You know how to do it. But there should be other ways for them to contact you, because we help a lot of people just make it easier for their own people to get there. And also there's all these messages if you didn't make it easy for them, they weren't going to take the time to go hunt out your phone number or track you down. You just need to make it easy and ready for there. So can you do it? Yeah. I in my web design, I probably would not want it just because it doesn't look as good. But.
And I can tell you the biggest mistake that wedding business owners in particular make with their website is they have one contact form, one contact us form at the very bottom of their website. And that's the worst possible thing you can do, because there's 2 things you need to remember. One is that the statistics show that when people land on your website, you have 6 seconds to get them to decide if they're going to stick around or not.
Wow.
So if you don't have information, if they have to scroll all the way down to the bottom, one, you've already lost a ton of people. But the second part of it is that when you go further down a website, the less likely people are to scroll through because of that 6-second rule. So if there's no other way for them to be able to reach out to you, to be able to, find out how to book a call with you, how to get your packages and pricing, they're out and they're going to go find somebody who will make it easy for them.
Mm-hmm.
That is, and I know Jade has a lot to say on that too, but that is sad that our attention spans are like nothing.
Oh, it's literally like they say it's less scientifically, it's less than that of a goldfish.
That's pretty bad.
And we're passionate about this for a reason, because if they can't connect with you, you did all this marketing for no reason. They got there, they liked it, they want to please get a hold of you.
Yeah.
I was calling some house painters today. No one answered the phone today. I had one people call me back. It's like, oh my goodness, just send an auto text back. Do something to get me to stop going down Google, So make it easy for me to get a hold of you, whether it's you or your automation.
I like that.
Really good point. Kind of along that same line, what would you say is the most important thing to have on your website?
Ooh, can I do this?
Yeah, of course.
All right. So it's one or two. It's like, to me, these are equal. So it's technically 2 things, but the first thing is what is called a picture of success. Okay. So that means that the picture, as soon as they land on your website, before they have to scroll, making sure that it is showing them basically the success that they're going to have when they hire you. Okay. So it can't be a picture of you.
Yeah.
It can't be, if you are a venue owner, it can't be a picture of the outside of your venue. I mean, I know you guys, you work with a lot of different people, but it has to be something. Yeah. It has to be something that is going to show them that when they hire you, that, oh my gosh, this is the success that I'm going to see. This is how I'm going to feel. This is what it's going to look like, where they can put themselves in that person's shoes in that picture. Okay.
Don't underestimate the power of this, because it's psychologically driven. If you have only 8 seconds, 6 seconds, your brain, really quickly, we're differentiating engines. We make these assumptions like that. Mm-hmm. So it's important to not mess this part up. So
absolutely. And then the second thing that is just as equally important is to have a very powerful short statement that I call the headline statement, the headliner statement, that very clearly demonstrates and states how you are different, what their experience is going to be like. So you need the visual, but you also need the words, and showing how you are going to be different than all of the other photographers they've called, the videographers they've called, the venues, because it's like, it's so easy now on Wedding Wire, for them to go click, 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 right. And ask, to contact me, what are your prices? I want more information. So when they hear back from you, or when they decide to go check out your website, they need both the visual and the written word that's going to make them say, wow, all right, let's learn some more.
You want them to say, that's it. Oh,
yeah. Like that could be me. All right. I want to know more about this. Exactly.
That was huge. Yeah. I already know my website's going to get slammed.
Let's see.
Keep her nice. We'll keep her good.
I'll be nice.
But she puts them back together very well.
Yeah.
Man, that is huge. I like that. So you just have to have it instant, the picture of, whoa, this is what I want. Mm-hmm. And that's saying to make them connect with it. Oh, cool. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
You're the best video ever. I don't know.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. It's going to be different for every person, because it has to be built off of what is driving your particular couples. Your perfect couple is going to be different than the perfect couple of a different videographer, based on, like I said, some obvious things like your market and things like that, but your personal style, your personality, all those sorts of things are what make you the perfect videographer for your clients, but for someone else to be the perfect videographer for a different set of clients.
Yeah, that's so true. You can't just be what is a jack of all trades? Because some people want the elopement couples, or the adventurous hiking up the hill couple. Some people want the luxury higher end couples. Some people want just Yeah, so that makes perfect sense. Yeah, so I need to check out my site, man.
Yeah, whenever you're ready, we'll take a look.
Yeah, hold on, not yet.
Okay.
But so yeah, let's go into some SEOs. Like, does it work? You know, what makes a website SEO friendly?
This is all you.
Huge topic. Okay.
Yeah,
so what I hear a lot is people say, I tried SEO and it doesn't work. That's silly. I mean, that's like saying I tried Facebook ads. I didn't know what I was doing and then it didn't work. Like it works for a lot of people. I rode a bike and I fell
over. It doesn't work.
SEO is a lot easier like in 2008 than it is now. But basically your website has to perform well for Google and the search engines and also the people.
Yes.
Now, getting SEO work is great. It's just, it takes a little bit of time. So you can't always just be like, yeah, let's do some SEO work and see it tomorrow. But it's more of the tortoise and the hare thing. It's the long, slow burn. But our clients who are on level 3, who are, multi-apps or single app, but just doing like killer, like they're getting 10,000 views a month. They have a long-term SEO. I can look in 2 minutes to find out how your website's doing. Wow. And over time, those keywords and all those things in there, let alone Google My Business and all these things we teach. But in the end, think about if you had 10,000 people come into your website, probably 1,000 people pretty serious about it, probably 100 people who are reaching out to you, probably 10 that are actually scheduling a call and you're booking one a week, a day or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's a math.
Yeah, it ends up becoming like a numbers game, but it's also, there is strategy behind it, right?
There's definite strategy. Yeah. I can unpack it, but lead away. Yeah.
I was going to say, if you could actually, because I like how you mentioned you got to do it for Google and also for the people. That's huge. Like I never actually thought of it that way.
Yeah. Because you have to make sure that, because Google is what's going to help them find it when they go looking for it, but they're the ones who are going to click through and explore from there. So it has to satisfy both sides of that. You have to make both the machine and the people happy.
One of the things SEO-wise that we're constantly teaching our students too is something called backlinking, which you've probably heard about. And the problem with SEO is you can watch YouTube and all these things and get wrong advice. Okay. Yeah. Like there's a few tried and true things you should do, but like basically backlinking is great. If you have a baker that you're working with, you're a videographer, but you were at a wedding and you got their thing, blog about each other. And say, hey, so-and-so did this wonderful video of my cakes or whatever, pulled it from YouTube and like backlink to each other because Google, it's a popularity contest. They say, you could say you're awesome, but when someone else says you're awesome, now it's edifying. It's like, oh, okay, Baker Bob said this is great, but like now you got people and it's like it kind of the rising tide lifts all boats type thing. So that's one way that's highly underutilized is just talk about each other and recommend each other, in your space. Venues, you're at venues shooting, like talk about them, tell them, hey, I did something about you. Maybe you should hint write about me or something. They love that stuff because we hear from both sides. The venues want you guys to connect with them and you guys want to connect with the venues. Everybody's like scared to talk to each other. Just talk with it.
So, I mean, I can already tell that you're like you're like the granddaddy of SEOs and terminology here. So let's dumb it down a little bit here. So for backlinking, for people who don't understand what backlinking is, how can they do this on their website?
Yep. Backlinking is someone talking about you on their site with one little thing, the blue link that takes someone back to your website.
Yeah.
So
let's use that example again. So like the baker and him as a videographer.
Yeah. So the baker's always looking for content, right? And he's going to write about this wonderful wedding, this great couple, and they were shot by, or coordinated by Jade, right? And she starts talking about how a little helpful, and then they've got a link to your website, and it's the blue clickable link, so it goes through. That is actually a backlink when someone can actually click on the link and go back to you, and you kind of do it back and forth. So, low enough?
Does that help clarify a little
perfect.
bit?
Yeah, that is perfect. So just wanted people to understand, like, backlink, that's huge. That's so cool. And then I also wanted to know, like, so can people that try SEO on their own website hurt themselves? And should they like hire someone just to do it for them?
I mean, a bit of both. I don't think I would go on to YouTube and learn about something and just like erase everything you're done. It's better to kind of build on what you've done than scrap everything. Changing websites. If you're going to change your name or your website or location, get help for it. I can't tell you how many wedding pros had like great SEO and all this stuff, and they switched and didn't know it, or they had a subpar web designer who doesn't understand a switch and they lost everything.
All that SEO
going back. Okay. Cause you want it to continue with you. So
I would say
for sure
that's probably the biggest way that wedding pros can hurt themselves with SEO is by, upgrading their website or switching to a new server or something like that. Yeah. And then not working with someone who knows what they're doing.
But there are a lot of small things you do with SEO to get started with it, writing about content. And then at the point that you want to hire someone, don't go on Fiverr. Like, I'm not dishing Fiverr is great. I've hired a lot of people, but you're going to have to pay a little bit. Like, we have a service that does that, but it's not like $10. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you have to have content written. You got to have the computer geek stuff done. I mean, it's way above my level. That's why I have intelligent people who know way more than me sit down with people on our SEO calls and help you fix it and everything. Yes. So yes, hire it out if you can. I really like it. It's just going to take at least 3 months and on. It's a continual investment in your business. But those 6-figure pros who have all that stuff, if you, like, I was just looking at an elopement videographer, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
She's starting, and I typed in elopement videography, right? And the other person's sites are pretty similar. Obviously, Kate would rip apart the writing, but I look at the SEO behind it. This person has like 4,000 keywords being found. I think it was like 7,000 people a month coming in, and like both are wonderful artists. The problem is this one everybody knows about. This one they don't. And that's where the income chain differentiation is.
Yes.
So I'm going to geek out. Sorry,
that's one of the big reasons. I mean, there's a lot of factors, right? It's not the reason, but I would say that's probably a big reason why, people get frustrated because they're like, I clearly have superior work. I am clearly better at what I do than this person over here. Sometimes that ends up, that's what it is that this person is more easily found, or, there's, like I said, other factors too, but sometimes it's just a matter of something as seemingly simple as that, because it can be frustrating, right? As artists, we're like, I know I'm better than that person. Why are they booked out and I'm not?
Yeah. Your local burger joint probably makes a great place, way better than McDonald's, right? But everybody knows McDonald's, so they're a $1 billion company. It's just because people know about it.
Yes.
Something I was going to say, I can't remember.
That is like, man, that is great information you're providing here. Like, I'm just like, my mouth is just like dropping.
Did you feel like it's like,
yeah, I wanted to go into a little bit more about the SEO. I mean, we could talk SEO all day, but just little things. Yeah. So can you go into keywords? I know that's huge. And how should you use it? Because on my website, I have SEO Yoast. I think it's called Yoast.
Yeah. Yoast is a great plugin.
Yeah. And like they tell you, put a keyword in, and they have like little green icons when you hit it. And you're just like, oh, you're doing all right. So what are your strategies and, good at ways of doing that?
Yeah. So with our clients, we actually use a tool that lets us like go behind the scenes on other people. And like for that client, I would look at what are these people doing well so that you can emulate them, right? If McDonald's is doing well, let's do more of that. If they're doing well, what can we do to kind of do more of that? So there's some science and some art to this. Part of it is finding out the low-hanging fruit. And that's what you want to start with. There's tools out there. Neil Patel has a free tool that's pretty good. Google has one as well. And you can contact us, and we help a lot with that too. But a lot of it in local people is just having some local information on there, some of those things. And that's why blogging, people dog on it, but it's really powerful.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That's I like how you said like emulate like McDonald's or like whatever's working, use it.
Well, actually one step back, because I've had quite a few clients actually look at McDonald's, and I'm like, wait a second, they got $1 million budgeting. Or like,
it's a little different.
Live bands. You can't go against like the companies that do like video, like the major powerhouse videographer companies that have like 1,000 people. You don't want that. You want the person a bit above you.
Yeah.
Okay,
because it's like, you know, David and Goliath essentially in a lot of ways. It's like, you know, you gotta kind of work your way up in some of those ways. But also this is why I think what you're getting at is that it's important to have a strategy. So figuring out when it comes to keywords, which ones are the ones that you can realistically win for. And that means that when people search for these key terms, that the results for your website are going to pop up higher on Google than somebody else's. So,
and we have a phrase back here on our whiteboard that says, is it getting us closer to a sale?
Yes.
Not that all keywords need to be there, but like, you need to think about like, is it going to bring us closer to building our brand, who we are, helping someone get that video of their dreams? Or am I talking about something that doesn't really matter? Because you could bring in people who aren't actually going to use your service. And that's not really what you want to do.
And that's where some of like the human logic comes in. You know, you use the machines to help you figure out which keywords are being searched the most, but then you have to use your human brain to figure out, okay, is that actually going to help people come to me? Because the thing is, one of the, we've seen this many times with our clients, is that someone will come to us and we'll look through the keywords, and one of them, they're a videographer, but it'll say like, you know, if they're in Louisville, it'll say Louisville, you know, wedding bakery or something. And it's like, that's the number one. They're like, oh, we should do that. We should write about it. Like, but you're not a bakery. Like, it's like, yes, it's wedding, you know, it's the same kind of audience, but you're not giving people what they're looking for with that. And that's not going to help you make a sale, because then they're going to click on Louisville Bakery, you know, if that's what they're looking for, and yours pops up. Either one, they're not going to click on it, or two, if they by some chance they're going to say, wait a second, this isn't what I'm looking for. And they're gone. And then you end up with a high bounce rate on your website too. So that's where, like I said, some of the human brain stuff has to come in to figure out, is this going to help you get closer to a sale? And
you need to look at this holistically too. So one of our things is we help you go from the whole way, bringing people in. Do they like what they see when they get there as part of a cracking and booking code? And can you convert them into a sale? Because if you talk to a website designer, like we spend a lot of time finding people who we can recommend out that like understand both the websites and the wedding industry. Okay. Because they can make you a beautiful website, but it's not functioning for you. So like an ad person just wants to bring ads in. Well, if your website's horrible, does that good? You know, same thing with SEO. You got to have like, you have to have all four tires to make the car actually work. You know, you can't, it's not really, I don't know.
He's the king of metaphors. He will come up with good ones.
So you need some of the holistic approach to it. Because everybody can do SEO, like just like everybody can video, but it's a little different when an artist does it. Or everybody can plan a wedding for their friend, but like you do a wonderful job,
as a
right, Jade?
Professional,
as a professional, like pulling the experience and saving the money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dang, we need to, well, now that I know like WordPress is really good with SEO, and like Wix, I think is like a little bit not so like, or it might just do it for you. I'm not sure, because I have WordPress and she has Wix, but she can't do a lot of the SEO stuff that I could do. Well, I don't know if Wix, you need like a plug. What do you guys think?
Big topic. It's more like, what do you need to get the job done?
And get started.
Rather than anything. Because you can always upgrade. You can pay someone to upgrade it. And you really should when you can. A professional does it amazing. You know, just like a professional videographer can make footage look amazing. It's the same thing there. That said, we used to like Wix. We call it Wix in a weekend. You can get one up quickly. Squarespace has kind of come out with a lot of cool things with that. But what WordPress is great if you don't mind taking the time to learn the ins and outs, because major companies like $1 million companies are functioning on WordPress. So that is one that you can scale all the way up with. I don't know about Wix or Squarespace. I don't want to comment on that because I don't personally know, but
Well, but I think the other side of it too is, again, it's like, that's a great start, but where do you go from there? Because just setting up your website with, you know, whether it's WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, it doesn't matter. Or if you have a custom one built, it's not going to continue to place you higher with SEO ranking if you don't continue to add the content. So something like that, it's not a set it and forget it kind of a thing. You can't set up a website and it's like, oh, good. Now watch me climb the ranks of Google. You know, it's like, it's going to get you started in terms of, like Nick was saying, part two of liking what they see, but how is that going to help you to be found by people who are looking for what you need or what you offer?
And we want to help our pros actually make money and bring people in. So there's two type of websites we see: a brochure site, and then like
what's a brochure site?
A marketing site. So a brochure site is somewhere like you would give a brochure to someone and say, like, this is what I do. It's great and everything. And you got to actually hand it to someone and give it to them. And then there's websites who are kind of designed to bring people in through their content, SEO, the stuff. And in the end, you want a funnel of people coming in, because so many people build a beautiful brochure site, but then they don't actually push anybody to it. And you're out of luck, because it's not like,
would it help? Would it make sense to maybe phrase it as a brochure site is like a static website? Like it just exists rather than bringing traffic in?
It's like it exists without bringing anybody in. It's beautiful. Like some people have beautiful sites, but we talked about lost in the word thing.
Beauty without brains. Let's say that, it's like,
So
that's so cool. I really like how you guys put it in perspective about, like video, or, you need a professional to make a big difference in this field. The same goes for your website. I need to put in, I'm going to get so slammed on my website. Just kidding.
Like we said, does it mean you have to start with that? Like, And does it mean that, you can't start a business if you don't have some beautiful, gorgeous designed website? No, of course not. Definitely start with the Wix, start with Squarespace, something, but don't like I said, don't make it a set it and forget it kind of a thing. Have a plan to improve it, not only with content, but eventually in design and in functionality, and in making it easier for the user to be able to use it.
We're so hesitant to recommend websites because this is what happens. Okay. Someone's like, oh, Nick and Kate said they had a pretty website. So they pay someone $2,000 to $3,000 to have a beautiful website done, but the content on it doesn't convert.
Stinks.
And they're like, wow, it didn't work. But that's like having a BMW without an engine in it. Okay. Like if you don't have the engine, it feels great in your driveway, but you need her superpower, the content that makes it go, so we're advocates for like getting it there, getting it ready, but having that holistic approach. Yes. And I can't tell you, when you go from a website to here, all of a sudden your value looks so much better. I mean, you don't walk into a BMW dealership and see like spray painted signs, I mean, it's kind of like, it's the ambiance. So if you're asking your couples to invest a certain amount of money with you, you need to show that you're at least willing to invest in yourself as well.
Yes.
So we're real hard about like having people spend money. I don't want you to go spend a bunch of cash without
without having a strategy and some thought behind it. Absolutely. Don't spend just to spend, but don't be penny pinching either.
Exactly. I like how, man, you're right. The king of metaphors over here.
I'll tell you, he's so good at it.
That's the old teacher in me. I'm gonna tell you.
I like how you another way you pointed is like, you go to a BMW place, you feel the luxury. You're like, whoa, I'm going to be spending big money here. You want the same thing for your website. That's huge. Yeah, I really like
back to the price shopper thing.
Yeah, and it goes back to the price shopper, and it goes back to understanding your audience. It's understanding what their expectations are when they choose you. So that's the thing. It's like you said, it's going to that dealership example. You walk into a dealership like that of a luxury car, dealership, and you see like packets of Folgers on there. You're going to be like, what the heck is this? Like in the customer service thing. But, because you walk in, they're expecting a certain level of customer service, a certain experience. But, and there's nothing wrong with the other way either, or with having, going to like a used car dealership or something like that. It's just you have certain expectations for each of those in terms of the experience that they're going to have. And that's why it's so important to understand what your client's expectations are. So that way you can build not only the website design, but the words, crafting the words to enhance that as well.
She's so true, because people make money at all those steps, whether you're the BMW dealership or not. There's somebody for everybody. Like we had a Ford Focus at one point, everybody needs like that car or something like that. You know what I mean? But you just need to be to the right people, because you can make plenty of money.
Yeah, there's so much knowledge being thrown on me right now. I'm like, whoa. Jade too. We're just like,
yeah.
So back to the website. Yeah. So we got SEOs. We got like having that look, what you're trying to portray to your client. So what are some like good ways to come up with like content to promote your website? What's some good ways for that?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, go for it.
We got tons of them, but a lot of people struggle with what do I write? What do I say?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One of the things is your past clients. That's a great way to get tons of key terms in there that you would never write about it. And we see it all the time. We see, our customers say, yeah, we just set up I did a day of coordination with so-and-so, they got married at St. John's Church in such and such city. Like, now you got the church and the city. So now you're getting like these keywords. Yeah. They got married in Gooseberg Park and they got photos. I don't know. They got photos there, but like you would never write an article about Gooseberg Park. But like you're writing it, you're just telling the story. It doesn't have to be gigantic, just there, and you get the backlink to other people. See, she's toning me out now.
No. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to refocus it. There we go.
So that's
now I want to write an article about Gooseberg Park.
That's one real way I can suggest that people can really do well without saying, hey, let me teach you how to make a centerpiece or something like that, which there's a lot of them out there,
Yeah. Well, and it goes back to, again, it's thinking about what it is that your clients want. What is it that they are, what do they need to know in order to make a decision about your service that you offer? So, what is it? What is it? What are the questions that they're asking? What do they know, or what do they need to know that maybe they don't think to ask? These are all things that you can come up with a content strategy that can be used in many different ways. Your website, on Instagram, creating, email content. Yeah. And use it over and over again. I've got thoughts on that.
Take one thing and use it everywhere.
Yeah. That's another whole episode I can go into on that in terms of make sure you repurpose your content.
Work smarter.
But it's making sure that that's how like Nick said, that's a great place to start. Start with the clients that you've worked with. Or, if you're brand new in your industry, then think about what are some of the things that people need to know about your industry. What is it that they need to know about choosing the right videographer? What are some of the reasons why they might want to hire a coordinator? What are some of the things that they need to know so that way they feel confident making a decision? Because that does two things. It does multiple things, but the two most important things is that it gives them good, solid information that makes them, really understand why you are the superior choice, because clearly you're not going to write about this stuff if you can't deliver it, right? Yeah. So it's understanding that. But secondly, you're building trust with them because you are giving them information that's going to help them make a decision. And they realize, okay, this person isn't just looking to make a sale. They actually care about my needs as a bride, that what I need to know so that I can choose the right person for me. It builds trust.
So good. I like how you mentioned provide them the information for the questions that they're not asking. That's huge. Like I didn't even think about it that way.
Yeah, especially if you can phrase it like one of the best, the content that I love to write or like to help our clients write is to say, the things that they no one talks about, or no one, that you never realized, or, the most important things that you never thought to ask, or things like that, where it's like, because then it makes people think, oh my gosh, is this something that like, I'm like, it pulls that FOMO, lever in your brain. Like, oh my gosh, am I like going to totally screw something up with planning my wedding by not knowing this information that they're about to share? Exactly. It builds this excitement. So yeah. What do you want to say, Tim?
Well, I was going to say a classic tip we tell people is look through your old emails to personalize it and find out the questions to ask. And it's silly. They might ask you like something that you think is obvious that like, oh, they should know that. But like, I can't think of an example off the top. go ahead. But you look through there and you're like, oh, that person didn't know. I bet someone else might not know either. It's a great email to send out, bring them back to your blog, your pixel. It's like crazy stuff. But
and the reason where that comes from is there is a concept called the curse of knowledge. Mm-hmm. And basically, if it says on a scale of 1 to 10, like you as the professional are at like a 10, okay, in terms of industry knowledge, like you know so much about your particular industry, about your craft, about your art, like you are at a level 10 out of 10 in terms of knowledge about your subject and what you do, right?
Yeah.
So, but we realize, okay, most people, aren't videographers or planners or whatever, right? So, okay, I'm gonna dumb it down a little bit. I'm gonna bring it down so it's a little more understandable for them. But the problem is that most people only bring it down to about a 7. But the real problem is that people buy between a 1 and a 3 level. Okay.
Oh.
So from 3 to 10 essentially is called the curse of knowledge. Basically, we know too much about our own industry and what we do. So every time we think that we're being clear, I really challenge you to, and we think that we're being like, these are like obvious things that everybody knows, that every bride knows when she's planning her wedding. No, you need to really think about that and be like, okay, how can I take this down even further? So that way I can actually make it understandable for someone who truly has zero knowledge about this, because most people have never planned a wedding before, right? So, yeah.
So true.
That's so true. That this is, I'm stumbling because this is so true. Like, I remember I would talk on the phone with the couple and I would just go off on everything in my head, just like, oh, this cinematography, let me get the composition here and all the lighting and exposure. And they're just like,
what?
Yeah. It's like, thanks for your time. Okay, bye. And it's just like, they go to someone else. If there's like, we'll record you doing this or whatever. Or I start asking them more about them and what they want and just a little bit of what I do. And then they want that connection even more.
Yep.
Because now you're bringing it to them, because that's another concept.
Many of your listeners need to hear what you just said there, because we all want to like just show them everything about it, but it's really about listening. What is it that they're looking for? Where's their head at? Because we know I could talk about SEO like great, but like we really need to like just answer the question they want. They already came to you. They were on the phone with you. Your job was not to mess it up and just say, I could do that. No problem. Drones, no problem. Got it.
Yeah.
Drones. Would you like, I can get you set up next week. Let's go ahead and sign. Like there's a little bit, that sounds silly, but it's so true. It's just that simple that you can just change a few words and all of a sudden it's like, you're like, yeah, I'll do that. Sounds good.
Yeah. Sometimes we make it harder for ourselves than it needs to be, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I like how you said they already saw our website. They liked what they saw. You already got them to the point of they're now talking to you. We don't need to just throw a bunch of word vomit on them where they're just like overwhelmed. Yeah. Just like have the conversation and get that connection. And I heard that a lot of couples, brides book mostly too on emotion. Do you guys feel that?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Well, that's the thing. The buying decision. The buying decision is an emotional one. Do you want to talk about it? See, that's the other thing. He's really good with the psychology.
I got a master's degree in this stuff. So I really love the, Maslow's and all the brain science with it. But like we attach to things emotionally, and then we use the logic and those bullet points to say, yep, that proves my emotion. Oh, yep, I'm right. I'm going to do this. I'm going to buy that car. I need it in red. Yes. Okay. And then you go. But like that emotional part is what you need to hit them in that 8 seconds, is where that copy thing that Kate's talking about. Because when they get on the call with you, you can work out 8 hours or, you can work out all the details, but that's not what sells it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's helping them to understand, because so once you understand that and you understand that the buying decision is an emotional one. And once you can answer the emotions that are driving their decision, because that's the thing when it comes to, let's say choosing a venue. Okay. You can go to several different venues and you're like, wow, these are all gorgeous. How could I possibly decide between either of these? A lot of times people will say like, oh, I don't know. I just hit a really good feeling when I was there. Right. Like I just felt really good there. And it's like, well, why was that? Well, likely because of something to do with the ambiance, or, this is what we do when it comes to the marketing and sales. It's that their website and their marketing materials spoke directly to what it was that was the underlying desire, because their main problem that they're facing is that they need a venue, they need a place to have their wedding, right? So, but the question becomes then, in terms of trying to decide which one is it, it's like, okay, well, how do I want to feel on my wedding day? Do I want a venue that makes me feel sophisticated, that is going to make all of my guests go, whoa, how did they afford this? This is incredible, you know? Or do they want a venue where people feel like they can sink into their chairs, they can kick off their shoes, they can, you know, go crazy on the dance floor because they're just having fun with their friends? Like, what is the feeling that you are looking to create, and that your couples are looking to create, not you, what the couples are looking to create? And if you can answer that in your marketing messages, then the logistics in terms of how many hours, you know, you're on site, you know, whether or not you have all these things, and even the price is no longer going to matter.
And I know you know this, but maybe your listeners don't. Like, you got them all the way there. Kate just helped you get them all the way there. And they're still, for some reason, you know, they liked it. And you know, they're on the fence, but why aren't they doing it? I'm doing a little pet project on objections and stuff like that. Yeah. But there's something emotionally or confusion that you have not answered yet. It's not the price. Like, most of the time, it's not the price, because they kind of got to you already. They kind of scoped it out. They kind of know it. There's something that some emotion you haven't closed.
Yes.
And it's usually something silly. It involves just asking them about this or this, you know, and it could be like, well, I don't want, my family doesn't get to get along. So it's like this. Well, no problem. We got 2 different rooms right here. You know, something that, like, it's usually something that kind of like, it's closes
often,
it. Yeah.
And it's an emotional decision. It's not like, oh, I just don't know whether I want, you know, 20 tables or 30, you know, it's not that. It's, you know, are people going to be packed like sardines and feeling like this is going to be like, they're so uncomfortable, or are they going to feel like, you know, like this luxurious setting or whatever it is that you're trying to do? They
don't need to go speak to someone. That's just a, I got to go speak to someone, you know, my fiance or family member. That's exactly. That's an objection. Something's not there, you know?
Yep.
That is, this topic alone, I could go on for a day. I used to be a car salesman, and everyone looks at them as like, oh, the sharks that, you know, they just come after you. But like you said, it's all about, and with car sales, it was emotional. I didn't even force them anything. I said, hey, what are you guys looking for? I tried to give them options. Hey, let's give it for a test drive. And then they test drive, and that was their connection with.
Yeah.
So the same thing with the phone calls too. Yeah.
And did you ask those? Some of them you could probably tell they wanted the stats, but some of them, if you just talked about the stats, you're like, be quiet. You know, I just want to like feel the car. I don't care
how many horsepower it has. It's like, I want to know.
Did you feel that when you were asking questions?
I did. Like, they would ask me a question, I'll just throw the facts and stats to them, and they're just like, okay, can I drive it? Yeah. Like, thanks, but let me just drive it. Or they'll be just like, okay, we're just browsing. We're just looking now. I'm like, all right. But yeah, there's so much in that you guys mentioned. That was just amazing. And I like how you guys were saying, emotional is huge. And it's all about, you know, finding that connection and not having that word vomit on them, and finding, like you said, finding that secret area that you're not answering. That right there is huge. And I think that's like a reason you could be ghosted, or a reason, not really ghosted, because then
big topic.
We've got so much to say on that too. Yes.
That's my jam.
That could be the reason why they haven't booked you. Like you said, not even, it might not be the price. It's just maybe the way you didn't connect with them. Maybe it's something you didn't answer for them. That's huge. I didn't even think of that.
You guys are all leaving money on the table. There's plenty of people who, if you just followed up a little more or followed up in a little better way, would say yes those to you
needs
at the right time. Like, it's just there, and we all do it. It's me too. It's everybody. But like, just know that you just got to do a little more of that to get a little more in your life.
Yeah.
That's so huge. For now on, that's everyone that's listening. Find that secret area. Like, we all know our expertise, and we all know the basic questions, but finding that area where it's just like that limbo zone. That's where the money is. I gotta find. Oh, you can't see my hand right here. That's where the money is. All right, go for it, baby.
What are your thoughts about Wedding Wire and the Knot? Like, we talked a lot about the websites, but in comparison. Yeah.
Okay. This is like an age-old dispute from like years ago to now. So from talking with all kinds of professionals, it works 100% for some people. It doesn't 100% for other people. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's like a gym. If you do it right and you do the things, it might be your thing, but maybe weightlifting isn't your thing. Maybe you need to be doing something else. Okay. So I can't say, no, you can't do it or not. Our website is one of our biggest articles. People come find out, should I do wedding wire or they're not, or not?
Yeah. Or not.
But basically, I mean, it's some of the things they have to like what they see in your content when they get there. It's a follow-up game for sure.
Exactly what I was going to say.
If you're not following up, I mean, they hit 5 people and 3 of them follow up one time. And then they're like, okay, I'm not answering the phone anymore.
And can I please also challenge anybody and everybody listening to this is that when you get those cold inquiries, okay, from Wedding Wear and the Knot, okay, please stop responding as congratulations on your engagement. Everybody says it. Everybody says it. Okay. And
it's
that's like the thing.
Out someone wrong
if
way.
if they've reached out to like 15 other wedding pros and they're all responding, it's white noise. And the thing is, it's not going to help you to stand out. So if you take the time, even just to craft a better response to those cold inquiries, you have a far better chance of actually getting a consultation with them than just being totally and completely ghosted.
So the answer is the budget is the big problem for most people. Yeah. You're stuck for a 1-year contract.
Yeah.
So you got to weigh that investment versus not. And like I said, some people win real well and some people don't. I think most people have tried it at some point, but things are changing in our industry. Their prices are going up. It used to be, it was one-on-one. Now they share with other people, but other people are exploring Instagram marketing. Facebook ads are still working. Google ads are still working, things like that. Maybe instead of paying that money to them, maybe paying an SEO person or different ways, but you have to have a variety of ways, not just a one-trick pony coming in. You have to have all these different ways to bring in your couples.
You can't really see any one source as like your savior for your wedding business. Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, just like, what
if they shut you out?
What if they shut you out, or they change the game completely. And then it's like, you're starting from scratch. In fact, we had, I know that I've spoken with, it's like a friend of a friend who had, on Wedding Wire, one person left this like scathing review or whatever. And it's like it completely tanked their they had like hundreds of like 5-star reviews and everything. And all of a sudden now they're at the bottom of the barrel because they had changed up Wedding Wear had changed up the ranking system and everything. So now it wasn't shown. And it's like this guy, it was like he had to start all over again because it was now seen as like this horrible business and everything like that. And it's like, that's why you can't look to one source as being the one that's going to make or break your business. You can't do that.
I would challenge that if you're going to go that route, don't just gamble by signing up and hoping it works, but say, if I'm going to invest this much in my business as a business owner, I'm going to take some time to learn it, to pay attention, to follow up with the people and actually use it the right way. I think if you're willing to put that time in, it might be something to consider. But if you're just saying like, I hope this thing works, I wouldn't just gamble that way. No. That's what it is gambling. Yeah.
I like how you guys mentioned about the reviews, because I feel like most vendors have Wedding Wear on the Knot for the reviews. Yeah. I feel like because a lot of people do complain about like, oh, we're not getting the best inquiries, or sometimes, we have Wedding Wear, so I'm like, but I noticed that the inquiries, it's always the same response. Or the same verbiage. I think they have like a button for the clients, the brides.
They do. Pre-written.
Well, in our system, so many people don't actually take the time to reach out to them and get those reviews. In our system, we help automate that just so that more of it gets done, because we're human. We mess it up. We don't ask for it. They don't want to hear it tomorrow, the next day.
Reviews,
to get reviews. And then following up with them, please, but please, like having an automatic follow-up does help a lot too.
Yeah. No.
You need that button.
I know what you're saying about like, I thank God that I don't have one yet, but I don't have one. About the one bad review could really just mess up your whole Wedding Wire or the Knot. Like, cause some people probably like deactivated their account, or not deactivate because they can't, but delete it when they can or whatever. But that's
Yeah. Well, same thing. I mean, we saw, years ago when Facebook was prioritizing business pages because they wanted to get everybody, they wanted to get everybody using it and everything like that. And it used to be that, there were issues with that where it was like people could leave these horrible reviews and you as the business couldn't manage those. Yeah. You couldn't remove those reviews. I mean, which happens. Which it's going to happen every now and then. Somebody's going to get, upset about something and, it's digital courage. They're happy to just spew whatever they want online because there's very few consequences. Yeah. But so that's the problem again with putting all of your focus and energy into one particular platform, especially one that you don't control. This is the same reason. I know we had a whole discussion about websites and everything, but it's another reason why we are big advocates for having a website instead of what, many people do is to just have their business like on Instagram. Like they're like, oh, I don't need a website. I don't want to pay for that and everything like that. I'm just going to do it all through Instagram. And it's like, what if Instagram goes away? It's not looking like it's going to, or changes the rules or anything like that. You are out of luck. Like you have got to start all over again. So we cannot put our faith all into one particular platform or, anything like that, especially one that we're not able to control the output, the input, anything like that.
Along the lines of reviews, like, would you recommend asking for reviews in multiple places? Like you said, not relying on one platform? Because like right now, I basically rely on Wedding Wire for reviews. Saying we wanted to get rid of that.
Great, timely question. Google came out this year with a big emphasis on Google My Business. And if you don't have a Google My Business page, it's free. Everyone
set it up now.
Set it up now. And simply go back and ask for reviews. They might say no, but some of them have said yes. I did it the other day again, and like, even if you have only 3 of them on there, it's okay. Just start where you're at and ask for some and start building it up for SEO reasons. Yeah. So Wedding Wire is a great place, but let's not have all our eggs in the same basket again. But I guess be strategic about it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's huge. So speaking of Google, let's go into like Google ads and stuff about, and I like how you mentioned that I didn't know that reviews from Google helps you with SEO.
On those reviews from Google My Business, sorry. When they say something great about you, respond back and throw in keywords like, oh, I had a great time at your wedding at St. John's wedding venue and stuff like that. Because that all is in Google. It loves that stuff. Don't just say thank you.
I love being an Austin wedding videographer because of couples like you. It's like
silly simple, but it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Oh, that is huge. I did not even think about your answers to their review is helping you with keywords.
Yeah.
There's so much we don't know. And this is why we all have like mentors and people that we find. You just got to like find good advice and go with it and do your thing, What were you asking about ads and stuff?
Oh yeah. Like what are your thoughts on Google ads and how can that help your business?
Yeah. So our company, we do ads and we try to figure out which was the right platform for you. I mean, they're all good, but usually right now people are into Facebook, Instagram ads and or Google. And to keep it simple for your clients, so Google is search marketing and Facebook, et cetera, is interruption marketing. And let me explain that. So if you want to find a videographer or a planner, you're going to go in there and say videographer near me or Austin, Texas or whatnot. Yeah. And you better win for those terms or have your ads put you there for it. Okay. So that's somewhat kind of high intent. Like, okay, they're looking for someone right now, but it costs a little more sometimes. It depends, right? Now, interruption marketing is someone's on Instagram, they're flicking through and they see this ad that pops up all of a sudden. And your job there is to be a little silly or not silly, but try to
grab their attention,
interrupt them from what they're doing their daily life.
You're trying to stop the scroll.
Two different mindsets. Stop the scroll. Very good.
Yep.
I can keep going. What's your question?
Yeah, I like a big topic. Stop the scroll. That was pretty good. That was a good saying. So like, what have you noticed that, were you saying something? What have you noticed about, what platform do you find better for ads? Facebook, Google, or Instagram?
Good question. It really depends on yours. That's why, and what it really is how much does it cost me to get that customer? So let's say an average videographer package in your area, let's just keep round numbers. Like say it's $5,000, right? If say you do ads and it costs you like maybe $200 to get a customer, right? But if I say you're going to give me 200, I'm going to give you $5,000, would you take that deal?
Would you?
Yeah, right.
Right? Say yes.
Am I saying it wrong?
No. That's the thing. Well, can I address that for a second? Because that's the problem. I will say, like, if we step that back even just a little bit, you're asking which one is better, Google, Facebook, or Instagram. Well, the thing is, you also have to have a mindset of what it is, like spending. You're going to spend. Okay. So this is part of one of the things that we talk about a lot too, is the fast versus the slow traffic and bringing people in and bringing leads in, fast versus a slow way to bring in leads. Okay. And the slow way is things like SEO, blogging, Google My Business, all those kinds of things, word of mouth, because they, it's going to take a little bit of time, but eventually it's going to do its job. Well, fast is really, you have to equate that with saying paid. Okay. So you have to understand you're going to have to put a financial investment into that. You're going to have to pay into that. But that's the thing you have to realize is that you're going to pay one way or the other. So are you going to pay in money or are you going to pay in time? If you can't afford to wait, you have to build your business now, you need some leads like yesterday, then you're going to have to pay. And that means that it needs to be an actual investment. Like $50 to try to get some clients is usually not going to work. So that's why Nick's saying you have to think about the ratio in terms of what you're going to put in versus how much you're going to get back.
Interesting. So it's not all about how much you put in money wise into the ad, is what you guys. It's
how much you're earning. So if you're not earning money, let's not do it anymore, right? But like, so many people try to save $100, $200, or I don't
They'll
care.
say, I'm not paying $200 in Facebook ads. That's ridiculous.
Per customer, but you're still making like $4,000 over here. So what if you just do, you double it? And you double it again. Like, I mean, you can really scale up if that's the case, and it's a repeatable process. I'm geeking out a little bit, I know, but it's just like, this is where a pro kind of helps you figure it out. Everybody's tried, I'm going to throw $30 at Facebook ads. I mean, we did it at the beginning or something. I'm going to throw I'm going to get that $100 coupon for Google ads and try it. And like, it says it doesn't work, but it's like trying to drive a car without having driver's ed training. Like it's nice to have a pro help you or to learn from intelligent people on it. Cause you can waste money if you're once again, if you're not going to study it and do it right, you're just gambling by throwing money at the thing. Let's not gamble, but let's make an investment in your business.
A strategic investment.
To answer your question, you have to try a little bit of both. And we have the power now that people did not years ago. They had wedding shows and you were either there or you weren't. They had like the phone book or something. We can be omnipresent. They come to my site. And if you come to my site, you're probably gonna see my face everywhere. So like, it's like all of a sudden you can be on Facebook, you can be here, you can be YouTube retargeting ads, showing your wonderful videos, and like all of a sudden, like you can be omnipresent. So someone tell them about touch points. So someone can it helps you build up that know, like, and trust factor in the digital world that we used to have by shaking people's hands in the real world. So now it's like, I like that.
I know that person.
These things. Or
it's like, it's, you keep getting put in front of them because of doing some of that ad spend and everything like that. Because basically again, you think about it from a machine standpoint, but also a human standpoint. It's like, you're basically triggering them by putting your face, in front of you by, doing some of these online ads, your face keeps putting in front. So that's triggering the human side. But at the same time, the machine side is saying, this is something that people, these users have searched for in the past. Plus, I want them to keep spending money. So they're going to keep trying to make it successful. They're trying to, it's like, it's you end up in a good spot like that. But.
And the elephant in the room is everybody's always afraid of losing their money. Yes. I mean, none of us want it, and we're scared that it works for them, but not for me. And that's just part of the investment business. That
it's not going to work 100% of the time straight out of the gate. Like,
if you try, it might, but if you don't, it won't.
It for sure won't. Yeah.
Now that we went over, Google ads and Facebook and Wedding Wire and the Knot, let's transition back to the website. So how can people build more demand for the services that they're offering to the client?
Yeah. Well, yes. So this is where, I get really passionate about this. This is what goes back to, like we were talking about a little earlier, in terms of answering that emotional need, making sure that you are clearly speaking to what it is that they're really buying when they book with you, because it's so much more than, like we were saying, just like a gorgeous venue, or like they just want a record of their day with, photography or videography, or they just want some great music that they can dance to and everything like that. Like there's a deeper reason why they want those things. So once we understand that and you keep speaking to that, that's how you can build the demand. And it's how you're going to position yourself above other wedding professionals who just say the same things. Just like, the whole, I'm going to give you, the wedding day of your dreams. It's like, okay, sure. Everybody will. Like what is going to be different about the way that you do it? And again, this is why you have to know your clients, your couples, and what it is that they truly want. If I can give an example of that, we had a wedding planner that I was helping, and she, thought that she understood who she wanted her clients to be and everything. We worked together, built out a whole profile in terms of like who her ideal clients were. And then she started getting them, and she was like, these girls are brats. She was like, these are not the girls I want to work with. Like she was having like one that she was on a call where, it was like the bride and like her cousin or something. And the cousin was like, I'll be answering all the questions for her. And she was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like just not her idea, which for some people it's, hey,
she learned.
But she learned. Okay. So then working with her to understand who it was that she really wanted. And it's like, okay, well, I want to make, because originally she was saying, I want to help brides who have, they're busy professionals, they're busy with their careers and they don't have a lot of time to plan their weddings. It's like, okay, well, then what's going to happen once they have that answered? How are they going to feel? What is it freeing up time for? What is the ultimate result that they want when you plan their wedding? Is it because there's different reasons, right? There's different types of brides. Is it someone because she wants it to look like she wants to impress everybody because she wants it to be this really luxe high-end wedding and she has high expectations and everything? Or is it because she wants everybody to feel comfortable and it frees her up to be able to go like see her family that she hasn't seen in forever, and to like be able to not turn into a bridezilla while she's, planning her wedding, all those kinds of things, right? So that was when we worked together and we finally like broke it down, got to like the core desire of what it was that her brides wanted. It was that they didn't want to sacrifice their personal relationships while she was planning her wedding, because she was afraid her brides were afraid that they were going to, they're snapping at their fiance. They're, alienating their mom and their future mother-in-law. Their friends are like avoiding her calls because, they're like, oh my gosh, So those were all the things that we got down to. So she changed up, and this is where like the ad strategy comes in. Well, this is where the ad strategy comes in, because she was already running Facebook ads. And like we said, she was getting those brides, but it wasn't the ones she wanted, right? Yeah. So she went in there, fixed it. Overnight, she had 3 leads from the brides she wanted. By the end of the week, she had, I think, 10 consultations booked, like just in a couple of days, with these couples, with these brides that were the ones that she wanted to work with, because she had finally gotten to the core desire, what it was that they wanted at an emotional, at a heart level from her planning services.
Now, to be fair with that too, is Kate got him all the way there, right? Mm-hmm. And she did the perfect spot, but they have to follow up.
Yes.
Because you can't just bring them in. You can't just like wow them and then they may or may not call you, or they might disappear and say, I'm going to get back to that. And they don't know where your website is. Yeah. Your job is to make it easy for them to contact you, to text you, to get on the phone and get their email so that you can have that follow up later. Because otherwise, like you did all that work, you got them in, they said yes, they just weren't yes right now. Yeah.
So it's really like it's really a 2-part system. It's one, making sure that you're speaking to the right ones, bringing them in. That's how you start to build the demand, right? By showing them how you are clearly different. But the second part is the follow-up game.
Once those leads got in, like in our system, she happened to be with us. You can do it with any system, but like you just follow up with them, email them, texting, like messaging, just
Yeah. And the way that comes into play is understanding also the difference between what we call a buy now versus a buy later couple. Okay. So the mindset, yes, the mindset of a buy now couple, meaning somebody who is like, I need to make a decision on my DJ. I have to do this, like, or else like I'm running out of time and I'm not going to be able to have my choice, of who I really want. So I need to make a decision. And it's like, they call and it's like, as long as you say the right words, they're like, yep, sounds good. Where do I send the deposit? Yeah. As long as you answer the phone, right. Or, answer their email. So that's a buy now couple. But the thing is, that is a very, very small percentage of your local market. It's about 3 to 12% of your local market. Okay. Very, very small, who want what you have and are ready to buy right now. So what do you need to do after you build the demand? Then you have to make sure that you continue to build the demand with who the other half of that is the buy later couples. Those are the people who want what you have. They're interested in you. They're like, wow, yeah, this person's awesome, but they're just not ready to pull the trigger yet. They're not ready to say, yep, this is who I'm going to pick, because we have to remember you are the only one of whatever your service is for their wedding. They feel a lot of weight and a lot of pressure. And as much as we want them to be like, yeah, sounds great. Here, where do I send the deposit? How do I get this over to you? This is a huge decision for them. So not all of them are ready to buy right away. They have to feel confident that you are going to be the right one photographer for their wedding day, right?
And everybody's like, hey, how do we get those buy now couples? Like there's some secret. There's no secret sauce to it. It's just proper marketing and bringing them in. But think about this. You bring on like 100 people today and there's 3 to 10%, as you said there, that might be buy now. But say you add on another 100 next month. Now you got 200 people and it kind of keeps getting bigger, but eventually they'll fall down into the buy now category. And it's funny. I joke with our clients and I say, okay, watch, when we send these text messages out or these emails out, okay, they're going to say, you know what, I meant to call you today. And I'm like, when they do that, let me know. Because what's happening is you sent this email, which is basically putting your business card back into their old fashioned mailbox, or you sent a text and they're like, their brain goes so quick. They're like, it's meant to be. I was calling them today. They weren't going to call you. You just kind of neurologically stimulated them. And they're like, oh, that's the one. And they just go with you. But if someone else had texted them, they would probably gone with them, and this is a whole topic. But it's just the power of that follow-up is important, because you want more than 3%.
Yep.
There's so much in that you guys just mentioned.
It's a big topic.
It's a big topic.
We teach all kinds on this, but
But that is huge I like how you guys just like threw it on the table about the buy nows and the buy laters. Cause we all, like you mentioned, we all want that buy now. Like, here's my proposal. Here's my agreement. Sign it. Let's do this. But sometimes when you give them that, at that point, they still will be a buy later. Right.
Yeah. It doesn't mean they didn't like you or they didn't like what you have. Yes.
Some people get emotionally like, oh, I'm not good at this. Sorry, if you only have 3 leads, like that's a real small pool. 100 people would be great to get 3. But what if like that third person is not till you get farther along in your lead cycle?
Well, let's talk about one of our clients. He's a DJ and he had sent out, because, working with us, and that's the other thing is we always encourage, you have to do more than like 3 or 4 touch points. You have to follow up more than 3 or 4 times, because especially when you think about those buy later couples.
Most don't even do that.
But I'm just saying, like, even like, because some people will do that. They'll send out the proposal and they'll be like, yeah, like you said, yeah, let's do this, and you don't hear anything. So like a couple of days later, you'll like email them again or send them a text message or call them or something, say, hey, I just want to check and see if you had any questions, right? And then you don't hear anything again. You're like, oh my gosh, they're ghosting me.
Or and then
or you get mad. It's like, what the heck? I know I'm awesome at what I do. Yeah. Like, why aren't you?
I had this conversation the other day.
Oh, Lord.
The thing is, what if you go ahead? What if you zero it out?
But so the thing is, I'm saying this is what people typically do. It's like, then they'll throw out that last Hail Mary, which is really only their 4th touch point. That last Hail Mary thing that says like, hey, I don't want to bug you. So, if you're not interested, just let me know, and it's like, sometimes you get a response from that, but a lot of times you still don't hear anything because they're still not sure. Or they'll say like, oh no, I really liked you, but I don't know. I'm still doing some research. I got to talk to my fiance. I got to talk to my family, all those kinds of things. You have to keep going. You have to keep going until they tell you go away, or if they tell you, I've already gone with somebody else. Or they say, yeah, actually, now's a great time. Let's talk about this. Yeah. Until then, you have to keep going. So we had a client, he was on week 27 of his follow-up, because this is what
twice to him.
Because it shows, because he's a DJ. Okay. A lot of times DJs get pushed real close to the wedding day, right? I mean, they end up like a couple months out sometimes, for when they're booked. And so this is what we teach our clients with our systems and our programs, is teaching them that you have to have a solid follow-up system in place. So, I mean, we recommend anywhere from 26 to 52 weeks of follow-up. Okay. And it sounds crazy, but you do it, you get it taken care of, and then it's just like clockwork, because it's running in the background while you are working with those buy now couples. In the meantime, you're working on the buy later couples through your system, right?
Yeah, we're not saying do it by hand.
No. Have a system for this kind of stuff. But so what happened was, on his week 26 email for this one couple that had originally been like hot to trot, they wanted to know everything about him and his packages that he offered, and then ghosted him for 26 weeks. They finally replied and was like, you know what? My fiance has been bugging me saying we need to make a decision. So where do I send, send me your packages and pricing again, and we'll send over the contract. Because think how many more sales you can make if you have a consistent follow-up in place.
Because if she ghosted you, she might be embarrassed to talk to you, or she's probably going to Google and say next person.
She's not going to remember.
But when you put it back in there all the time, you're memorable.
Yep.
Yeah, that is huge. And I was going to mention, you answered it. It's like, how many times should you follow up? Because you don't want to sound, some people are afraid of sounding nagging or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can we talk about that?
Oh, please. Yeah.
So the fear of everybody is, I don't want to bug them and mess up the sale. Okay. Definitely don't bug people. Let's just agree to that. Like, don't be
irritating.
Don't text them at midnight or something that's unprofessional. But they can just stop talking with you, right? In your inbox.
I'm all set. Thank you.
Say your email inbox. If you don't want to talk to someone, you just push unsubscribe. And like they disappear, right? Like someone's like, my inbox is full of all these emails that I'm going to get to someday. I never do, but I will someday. And then one day there's the one I see and I get to it. But if I don't like them, I just unsubscribe them. So there's like no real worries about it. And you're going to get that troll. So we've had some of our people say like, why are you emailing me? I broke up with him and I no longer am going to do it. It's like, well, we didn't know that, like from our clients, but you take that to heart. Like, oh, that's ridiculous. Out of the thousands of other people, they appreciate that. And they're just kind of leaving it in there. It's like that junk mail that piles up on your desk, waiting for that day you're finally going to get that.
Yes.
But
it's what we call being professionally persistent. It's making sure that you continue, that you do your due diligence as a professional, as a business owner, to continue to offer them, because that's the thing. What you do is you're not a sleazy salesperson, right? You have something genuine that is going to make their wedding day better. You know that you do this because you're good at what you do. So what you're really doing, this comes down to a fear of sale. So now we're venturing into that, but it's like, if you're afraid of getting no because you're afraid of selling, then it's like, that's going to color everything that you do. But if you see this as, I'm giving them an opportunity to have their wedding day better, and not like, because I'm so great, but because you truly are talented. So that's the difference, is when you see it as an opportunity and you present it as such, then you have to keep presenting that opportunity until they tell you one of those three responses. And
I would like to say, like, if you're listening and you're worried about the sales part, I've seen so many people who get sales in, like leads come in, conversations, and there's just that thing stopping it. It's so close. Like, if you need help with that, get help from us or someone else. Just get help with that, because you're worth it. And like, it sounds so silly, but there's people who can help you get past that then, because I hate it when the sales come in, the leads are there, just like just say, First of all, real quickly, creatives don't want to say I cost something, but like a lawyer charges you for their job, doctors everywhere else does, but we want to say we have a hard time putting a price on our art
because it's emotional. It's like, it's our art, right? Yep. You know, we don't do this.
You deserve it.
Yeah. We don't do it for the money necessarily, but if you're full-time and you want to be able to enjoy this art, if you want to be able to enjoy what you do and the art that you do in a full-time way, then you're going to need to be paid. And the art that you create is worth something. It is valuable. And when you are speaking to those couples' emotional needs, they're going to recognize that value. And like I said, then price won't be a problem. And then you don't have to worry about feeling like you have to sell them.
Yeah. Every time you go up in price, you get that little nagging thing again, but it's surprising. You look back and be like, wow, I'm here now. And I started. Yeah.
That's huge. And I want to go back into like the topic of like reaching out to your brides and stuff. So have you guys heard of, I think his name is Alan Berg, I think.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I've read some of his books, and he always says for your conversation to not just end it with anything, just always ask a question. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah. So
I don't know. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I agree with that.
I'm ending it with a question.
That's a classic sales thing from like the 50s. Okay. And it's good marketing is just good marketing. It's just different flavors. So yeah, it's like, you don't want to, so I used to teach my students how to have conversations. Right. And I used to teach them, it's like playing ball. You have to like throw the ball back and forth. You can't just like, if you stop throwing the ball, the game ends. You don't want to do that, right? So you want to ask a question, not in an annoying way, but in a way that kind of keeps the conversation going. You want to comment on something they wrote about. If they said, I'm unsure about this, be like, oh, well, you're unsure about venues. You know, I've worked at a bunch, you know, do you have a few that you're considering? You know, I have videos at it. You can see inside of it, something like that. Like keep the ball going by like responding to what they're saying and maybe asking some qualified questions, not about their dogs, but you know, something right. So that's good in life, networking everywhere you go. The question thing is just solid advice. Yep.
Yeah, that's huge. I like that a lot. So I just want to now let's move from there. I think our listeners got a good idea of how to respond to people and keep the ball going, keep the game going. Yeah. Now let's go into, since you guys is filled in marketing, what have you noticed that has been really tough or like really hard for vendors making sales in the wedding industry when it comes to like marketing? What's the number one thing that you guys see that people are making? I'm
going to ask you to unpack that again. I'm trying to get, I want to make sure I
have an immediate thought, but yes, please tell.
I want to make sure I'm a little confused.
Yeah.
No, like just in your guys' marketing business, like what do you guys see that people are commonly making a mistake on?
I've got an answer for that.
Go ahead. Yeah.
They're too generic. They're too generic. And that's why I was saying you have to understand what it is that your couples truly want. What is that emotional desire that is driving them? Because, especially like the example I gave earlier, I especially see this with wedding planners, and they'll say, I'm going to take the stress off of your day. Yeah, well, so is every other wedding planner. It's like, and it's like, it makes it hard for us to stand out, which also makes it hard for us to command a higher price. It makes it harder for us to be found online, for us to, have to, in a lot of ways, especially with wedding planners, justify our services. So when we can get beyond the generic reasons of why, and again, it's a combination of understanding that emotional need, but also making sure that you are not applying, like it's not the curse of knowledge at work here, because you totally understand why you are like a central part, like we were talking about with videography, right? We know this, because we totally understand, like, you're going to regret this. But when you're talking to a couple who doesn't understand that, who is like, it's the same thing as having photography. So I'll just get like a really good photographer and it's the same thing. And you're like, but it's not. And here's why. You have to explain that, because if you just say like, capturing the, all the most important memories of your wedding, well, how is that any different than a photographer? You have to talk about what is it that you are capturing in a different way, and how is that going to make them feel once they have that?
Yeah, very well said. I really like what you're saying with that. This is a broad topic. I think the biggest problem I hear in our industry is everybody's wondering, what do I do next? It's too big of a machine to get wrap your head around.
Especially if your background isn't in business.
Yeah.
Which most people's aren't.
And they're like, what about, do I do, Instagram? Do I do this? Do I do this? There's like 1,000 things. And you know what? They probably all work in some way. But if they don't all work together, first of all, that's your baseline. They better all work like enough to bring in the cash. And then there's like a bunch more, but it's usually the confusion, I guess. Getting clarity helps everybody. I think that's probably the biggest thing that we help. Right. Our clients
clarity.
Just
clarity, whether it's their business system, their writing, their clients that, they're couples that they like to work with and how to find them. Yeah. That's really what it comes down to is clarity.
That is huge. I like how, again, you guys just like all kinds of good information you guys just threw on here. But I like how you mentioned, like, you stop being generic, which is huge. I like that. It's just like blunt, like just, it's the
truth.
It's the truth. Like you said, what you're saying the same thing as the other person that they inquired with. What makes you guys different? And that's another thing I'm curious about. So say like video, they're like, oh, we're also looking at this person, but they're a little lower than you. But you're like, but look at my quality of work. How do you differentiate that?
Yeah. What did you like about that person, or what did you not like? And listen to what they say, why didn't I'm like I said, I'm doing a whole ton of objections right now,
Yes, he totally is. He's working on this right now.
Like, why didn't you go with them then? And it's the tonality that makes a difference to everybody. You can't be like, why didn't you go with them?
Well, then why did you go with them?
You be like, the unique, seriously want to know, why didn't you? Because that is where you said earlier that they might say he rubbed me the wrong way, or she didn't say this or something like that. Or you might say, it was only 7 hours. I really want 8. But like, I could do 8 for you and be quiet. Like it could be like that simple or something. Okay. But like, there's a whole bunch to that.
Yeah.
Okay. That brings me into another thing. How do you go about that without lowering your price? So like people are just like, oh yeah, can you do this for me? This person's offering that. How do you do that without lowering your standard and your price?
Oh, great question. One of my favorite books, and the first thing you can say, I'm going to give you one of those lines is like, like how could I possibly do that? Or how am I supposed to do that? And kind of like look like that and just be quiet because it's uncomfortable. And they're asking you to
charge
it's
less.
One thing if they're haggling, then it's fine. If they're like serious about it, you could like read the situation, but just questioning them in a way like that makes you not have to say, well, I provide this and this, it's like,
it takes you off of the defensive.
Like, what do like, how do you get them to like explain their position, and the power totally shifts to the different side of it.
That's huge.
It sounds simple.
Can you repeat that again? I liked how you mentioned, but can you repeat that again for our listeners? Like how you push the table?
Yeah, there's a couple different ways. When they ask you that, one thing you can say and try out is like, how could I possibly do that? And don't carry on, just kind of like with a kind of question, or I don't know how I could possibly do that. And uncomfortable silence will make them break it. And because they're asking you, your painting's not worth it. I don't really want to pay that much. I want less, which is fine. Haggling, everybody wants to get a better price, and it's okay for them to haggle. You don't get mad at them. People get mad a lot of times. Let's say be careful of that. Let's take it personally, but it's also detached a little bit and let them try to explain why they don't think you're worth $2,000 for your painting or something. You know what I mean?
Or another thing is that sometimes they will try to apply those tactics on you. So instead of saying, oh, well, I talked to so-and-so and they quoted me this, or, something like that. Yeah. You could say, well,
did you not
what was it that you didn't like that made you want to, to get that one? If they're like, oh, well, I just want to get some more information. Oh, okay. Well, what have you found so far in terms of, in comparing now with what I've told you about what I do and what they do? What are you seeing some of the differences? And just, this is the back and forth, the game and everything, yes. Okay. Hold on here. I got one too. So the other thing is, if you give your price, which you should give give confidently.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with the price that you are charging.
The last one.
Don't
end with the darn price. Everybody wants a conversation to be like, just build up and all of a sudden, I cost $5,800. And like, that's the end of the conversation. They're going to sign or anything. It's like you sandwich it in the middle a little bit.
Yes. But if you give your price, you state it confidently. And if they go, oh, wow, that's a lot more than I thought, or whoa, that's really expensive. Because again, so there's a couple things you have to realize that is first, this means that they have not been educated on what things cost in the industry. It could be that they don't know about this, because you have to think that's the first thing that I always recommend people realize is that they very genuinely, especially when it comes to venues, they may genuinely not know how much it costs on average to rent a venue or to hire a photographer or anything like that. So they're just like, oh my gosh, so it's sticker shock because they just don't know what's typical. That's the first reason. But the second response you can say, if they go, oh, wow, that's really expensive, you could say, oh, well, what in comparison to what? And again, hold it. Stay silent. Don't say, are you comparing me to another vendor? They like, don't word vomit. Like, just ask them. Okay, well, oh yeah, well, what is in comparison to what? And then, because a lot of times that's what you're going to see. Yeah,
because sometimes we jump in too much. Okay, their brain needs a little time to process it, and you're jumping in too quick, and you just need to be quiet and let it go. Comparison is good.
Yes.
Also, like sometimes asking other questions, like, what were you thinking or whatever? And you can basically say, well, I couldn't possibly do that. My prices are here, but you can throw in a non-tangible next.
Yes.
What if I added a highlight reel to it? And sometimes doing that, all of a sudden, but you're going to do anyways, or, what if I do something like this?
Or you pull something from a higher package. So say that you've, based off of, because that's the thing. When you're talking with these couples, and this is another reason why we also advocate for not just giving people your pricing and packages. Like if they say, how much do you cost? And you go, oh, here's my rate sheet. And you reply through an email and there it is. It's like, no, because you have no time to build the demand, to secondly, understand who they are. What are their desires? What are they truly looking for out of your service? Because then you can prescribe a package that is the right fit for them. Because of course you want them to have the top one, but if you see that, they're having an elopement or it's some sort of a smaller gathering or something, it's like, you're not going to recommend the 8-hour package with like all the bells and whistles, because it just doesn't make sense. And then that's when you come across as the sleazy salesperson, because they're like, they just want to, get as much money